You think you're in control. You believe that by pushing down the uncomfortable feelings, by locking away the old hurts, you've mastered your own mind. You've built a life on this quiet agreement with yourself. Don't look back, don't feel too much, just keep moving forward. But there's a whisper you keep ignoring, a faint echo from a place you've tried so hard to forget. It shows up in the sudden tightness in your chest when you're criticized,
in the way you choose partners who make you feel the same familiar ache, in the inexplicable guilt that follows even your smallest successes. This is not a random flaw in your character. It is a message, a desperate signal from the part of you that was wounded long ago and never got to speak. The very things you suppress to maintain control are the very things that end up controlling you. This is the silent, powerful truth of the unconscious mind, a truth that Freud helped us see. And today, we will listen to that whisper. We will explore how the more you try to bury your past, the more it dictates your present, shaping your relationships, your fears, and the very person you've become, all from the shadows. Consider the last time you felt a sudden surge of anger over something small, or the way you find yourself apologizing when you've done nothing wrong, or that hollow feeling after achieving something you worked so hard for, as if you don't quite deserve it.
These aren't just bad days or personality quirks. They are patterns. They repeat because they are familiar. Your mind, in its silent, intricate way, is drawn to what it knows, even if what it knows is pain. You might call it self-sabotage, or bad luck, or a tendency to be too sensitive. But these are just the surface symptoms. Underneath, a much older story is being played out, a script written a long time ago. You are not broken. You are not being punished. You are, in a very real sense, being loyal. Loyal to a set of rules you internalized when you were most vulnerable. Rules about what you must do to be safe, to be loved, to belong. The need for control you feel today, the relentless drive to manage every emotion and outcome, began as a brilliant, necessary survival strategy for a child who could not afford to fall apart. Let's trace this back to where it began. Not in the logical, adult mind you have today, but in the mind of the child you once were. A child who experienced a moment, or many moments, where expressing a true feeling felt unsafe. Perhaps it was a time you cried and were told to stop, that you were too much. Or a time you were angry and were met with punishment or withdrawal. Or a time you felt joy and excitement, only to be met with indifference, teaching you that your happiness was irrelevant. In that moment, a fundamental decision was made, not with words, but with the raw instinct of a young psyche trying to protect itself. The decision was this: this feeling is too big, too dangerous. It must be put away. That was the genesis of your control. It was a brilliant solution. By hiding the feeling, the anger, the sadness, the need, you preserved the connection you depended on for survival. You learned to be good, to be quiet, to be helpful, to never make a fuss. You learned that certain parts of you were unacceptable, and so you built a wall inside your own mind. You placed the unwanted feelings on the other side of that wall, and you, the conscious you, learned to live without them. You thought you had won. You had created peace. But what happens to a feeling that is buried? It does not disappear. It does not dissolve. It waits. It gathers strength in the dark. It becomes a ghost in your psychological machinery. Freud called this the unconscious for a reason. It is a place of immense activity that operates outside the light of your awareness. The anger you weren't allowed to feel as a child doesn't vanish. It transforms. It becomes a sharp tongue with your coworkers, a simmering resentment toward your partner, a deep-seated belief that the world is fundamentally unfair. The sadness you swallowed becomes a chronic emptiness, a numbness that makes genuine connection feel impossible.
The fear of abandonment you locked away becomes a desperate need to control your relationships, to test people, to push them away before they can leave you. This is the root. This is the old, forgotten room in the house of your mind, where the furniture is still arranged exactly as it was decades ago. The air is thick with the dust of unsaid words and unmet needs. And you, in your adult life, keep walking past the door, pretending it isn't there. But the ghost inside is restless. It tugs at the hem of your shirt when you're choosing a partner who feels distant and familiar. It whispers in your ear that you are a fraud when you receive praise. It clenches your stomach into a knot of anxiety when you are not in perfect control of a situation. You are not living one life, you are living two. The life you consciously built and the hidden life of that child, still trying to get its message across, still trying to be felt, still trying to be heard. And so the cycle tightens its grip. You wake up each morning determined to be different, to be calmer, to be freer. You make lists, you set boundaries, you practice breathing, and for a while, it works. You feel the satisfaction of control. But then, without warning, it happens again. The same argument with your partner, over a dish left in the sink, or a tone of voice. The same crushing wave of shame after a minor mistake at work. The same retreat into silence when someone gets too close. You watch yourself do it, almost from outside your own body, and you think, why? Why can't I stop? Why does this keep happening? This is the collapse emotional. This is the price of the wall you built. The energy required to keep those old feelings buried is immense. It drains you. It leaves you perpetually tired, not from a lack of sleep, but from a lifetime of internal vigilance. You are a soldier guarding a fortress that was supposed to protect you, but has instead become your prison. The very control you wield so tightly is what is exhausting you. Look at the repetitions. You find yourself in jobs where you feel perpetually undervalued. You choose partners who are emotionally unavailable because their distance feels like home. You sabotage your own success because deep down you feel you do not deserve it. These are not conscious choices, they are compulsions. They are the unconscious, desperate attempts to finally resolve the old story. It is as if your mind believes that if you can just reenact the scenario enough times, you can somehow change the ending. But you can't. The original players are gone. You are just left with the echo and the profound fatigue of fighting a ghost. The anger you repressed now leaks out as irritability, as a constant state of being mildly annoyed with the world. The sadness you buried manifests as a lack of enthusiasm, a feeling that nothing truly matters. The love you were afraid to ask for has turned into a deep fear of intimacy, a conviction that you are better off alone. Your life becomes a series of managed crises and contained emotions. You believe you are keeping everything together, but in truth, you are slowly being pulled apart by the weight of what you refuse to feel. The control is an illusion, and the collapse is the moment that illusion shatters, leaving you with the raw, unprocessed material of a pain you thought you had left behind. But what if this collapse is not the end, but the beginning? What if the moment you feel most broken is actually the moment you are closest to the truth? When the walls you built start to crumble and the old feelings you buried begin to surface, it feels like chaos. It feels like failure. You have spent your whole life believing that if these feelings ever got out, they would destroy you. But they are not here to destroy you. They are here to be heard. This is the understanding that changes everything. This is the point where you stop fighting the ghost and finally turn to face it. You begin to see that the anger, the sadness, the fear, they are not monsters. They are the frozen moments of a child who was hurt and had no other way to cope. That tightness in your chest when you're criticized, it's not a random anxiety.
It's the echo of a little boy who was shamed for making a mistake. That hollow feeling after a success, it's not ingratitude. It's the little girl who learned that her achievements were never quite enough to earn the warmth she truly needed. You are not being controlled by your past. You are being haunted by the parts of yourself that you were forced to abandon. When you understand this, the entire narrative shifts. The repetitions are not a sign of your weakness, but a map of your wounds. The partner you keep choosing is not a mistake, but a reflection of an old, unanswered question about your worth. The self-sabotage is not a character flaw, but a loyalty to a belief you formed when you were too young to know any better, that you are fundamentally undeserving. This is not about blaming your parents or your childhood. It is about acknowledging the reality of what happened and how a young, adaptable mind found a way to survive. You were not wrong for building those walls. They served a purpose. But you are not that child anymore. The dangers are different now. The survival strategy has become the source of your suffering. The comprehension is this: the control you seek is an attempt to manage a pain that already happened. You are trying to solve an old problem with new tools, and it will never work. The problem is not in your present. It is in the unresolved story of your past. And the only way to loosen its grip is to stop treating your feelings as enemies and start listening to them as messengers. That surge of irrational anger is not something to be suppressed again. It is a signal. It is pointing to a place where your boundaries were violated long ago, and your anger was never allowed to exist. The inexplicable guilt is not a truth about your character. It is the ghost of a time when you learned that having needs was a burden to others. This is the work of becoming whole. It is not about erasing your past, but about integrating it. It is about going back to that forgotten room in your mind, not to clean it out and lock the door again, but to sit with the child who is still there, to finally hear what they have to say, to tell them that their anger was justified, their sadness was valid, their needs were not too much. This is how the repetition ends, not by fighting the pattern, but by understanding its origin. The energy you used to repress these feelings can now be used to finally feel them, and in feeling them, you allow them to transform. The anger becomes a capacity for healthy boundaries. The sadness becomes a depth of compassion for yourself and others. The fear becomes a respect for your own vulnerability. So I ask you, quietly, in this moment, where in your life do you see the same story repeating itself? What is the familiar ache you keep returning to? And what is the younger version of you trying to tell you through that pain? If this understanding resonates with you, if it brings a moment of clarity or relief, consider liking this video and subscribing to the channel. It helps these conversations reach others who might need to hear them. Thank you for listening. And this is where the real shift begins. Not with a dramatic breakthrough, but with a quiet, sobering realization that settles in your chest. You start to see the machinery of your own mind. You notice the moment you instinctively shut down a feeling because it feels too familiar, too dangerous. You catch yourself about to repeat the old pattern, the sharp word, the retreat into silence, the desperate attempt to control, and for the first time, you pause. You don't necessarily stop the pattern right away, but you see it. You recognize it as a relic, a ghost from another time. This is the moment of understanding. It's not a moment of victory, but of truth. It's the moment you realize that the problem was never the feeling itself, but what you believed about that feeling. You believed it was unacceptable. You believed it would lead to abandonment. You believed it made you a bad person. These were the rules written in the silent language of a child's fear. And now, as an adult, you are finally learning to read them. This understanding is deeply human and deeply relieving. It takes the weight of blame off your shoulders. You see that you were never flawed or broken. You were simply adaptive. You developed a complex, intricate system to navigate a world that felt unpredictable. The need to be perfect, the fear of conflict, the inability to receive love, these were not your essence, they were your armor. And while that armor may have protected you once, it has now become heavy and restrictive. It keeps out the very things you crave: genuine connection, spontaneous joy, a sense of inner peace. The understanding is this: you can now, slowly and with great compassion, begin to remove it. You can start to question the old rules. Is it really true that your anger will destroy your relationships? Is it really true that your needs are a burden? Is it really true that you must earn your right to exist through relentless achievement? The answers you find may surprise you. The walls you built were made of beliefs, not stone, and beliefs can be examined and they can be changed. So I ask you, quietly, in this moment, where in your life do you see the same story repeating itself? What is the familiar ache you keep returning to, and what is the younger version of you trying to tell you through that pain? If this understanding resonates with you, if it brings a moment of clarity or relief, consider liking this video and subscribing to the channel. It helps these conversations reach others who might need to hear them. Thank you for listening. And now, I want you to take a quiet breath and ask yourself this one simple question, not with judgment, not with urgency. Where in your life, right now, do you feel the presence of that old contract, the one you signed in silence long ago, that says you must hide a part of yourself to be safe, to be loved, to be enough? What is the one repetition you keep living out, the one situation that always leaves you with the same hollow feeling? And if you were to listen to it, truly listen, what is the child inside you trying to say? If this video made you feel understood, if it gave words to something you've long felt but couldn't name, then please like this video and subscribe to the channel. It is a simple gesture, but it tells the algorithm that these quiet conversations matter, that there are others who need to hear this too. Thank you for your time and for listening. And so you sit with this new understanding. It doesn't fix everything overnight. The old patterns don't magically disappear, but something fundamental has changed. You are no longer at war with yourself. You begin to approach your own reactions not as failures to be punished, but as clues to be followed. When you feel that familiar urge to control a situation until your knuckles are white, you pause. You ask gently, what am I so afraid will happen if I let go? The answer often leads you back to a memory of chaos, of a time when you felt powerless and small. When you feel that surge of resentment towards someone who loves you, you don't immediately act on it. You sit with the feeling and listen. It might whisper that you are afraid of being truly seen, because being seen as a child meant being criticized or dismissed. You start to see your life not as a series of random problems, but as a living dialogue between who you are now and who you had to be to survive. This is the slow, quiet work of integration. It is the process of bringing the lost parts of yourself out of the shadows and back into the light of your own awareness. It is the act of finally giving a voice to the silence that has ruled you for so long. It is how you stop being a prisoner of your past and become the author of your present. So I ask you, in the quiet of your own mind, what is the one pattern you are ready to finally understand rather than just repeat? If this video helped you see your own mind a little more clearly, please like and subscribe. It helps this channel grow and reach others who are on a similar path. Thank you for listening.